So real quick, before we even get into it, let me tell you this. 74% of Black girls already know colorism is running the show. We already know that, okay? 74%, let that sink in. They know it. We know it. They just never got a permission slip to opt out of it. Darker skinned women report lower self esteem, more workplace discrimination, and less career mobility and opportunity. This is not my opinion, okay? This is published research. And yet, we are out here financing everybody else's self esteem and running our own account on empty. Hello. Perfect partner, perfect mother, perfect employee, perfect friend, broke on the one account that actually belongs to us. Okay? There's one new book. It's a new book, and I want my readers to read. And even if you're not a reader, I want you to read this. It's a book called Drink Water and Mind Your Business by this amazing doctor. Okay, and I'm about to bring her on in a second. And the tagline alone should be tattooed somewhere. Okay, somewhere reminding us that we need to drink our water and mind our business. Self esteem is not self taught, and it does see color. I'm Tonya McKenzie, Chief Controller of the Narrative, and today we're breaking down why a sex and relationship therapist wrote a self esteem book for Black women, already being co-signed by some of the heaviest hitters, and why minding your business might be the healthiest thing you do all year. So let's get into it. Good doctor, thank you for being here. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Man, I'm thrilled. I'm just thrilled that you're here. But look, tell me how this whole book writing process has been for you, because wait, you have multiple books if I didn't forget, but I want you to talk to me about this book in particular.
The writing process was fun in its own not at all fun sort of way.
I feel like you're being a little facetious, so we'll we'll definitely get a little bit more into that. Let's talk about, ooh, I don't even know where to start. Like sex therapy and this colorism thing and drink your water, because it seems like right now our our mode of response, our mode of self-love, especially Black women, is minding our business. Does that seem to be a theme for you right now? Tell me what that looks like.
See, when I say mind your business and when other people say mind your business, sometimes I don't know that we're saying the same thing, right? Sometimes people say mind your business as in go over there, get away from me, leave me alone. And for me, this conversation of minding our business is really paying attention to ourselves, to the
Mm.
things that we know we need in this season of our lives so that we can be the ones to create a future for ourselves that we actually desire, things that we actually want and enjoy, so that we're not just always in a space of reacting to the foolishness that other people bring us, but we are actually cultivating a life that we don't feel the need to constantly escape from.
Mm. I love that. Now, your tagline is self esteem ain't self taught, and it
Yeah,
does see color. Break that down for someone who thinks self esteem is just a mindset problem.
gotcha. So I want you to think back when you were young and someone be like, oh, well, you know what? You got to do things like this, right? Like it's these girls that are the pretty girls. It's these ones that we consider smart and worthy and beautiful, right? You have all of these people in your ear constantly telling you exactly what you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to look. And then they tell you that self-esteem was yours to cultivate by yourself. Not that you learned how to like yourself from the way that your parents treated you or the way that grandparents treated you. Not that you learned whether or not you were the good child, the worthy child, the pretty child, or the child that they loved the most in the household. Because low key, high key, we know where we stand, right? We always know who's mommy's favorite. We know this thing, and yet we're taught Or we're told later that your self-esteem is a personal problem and a personal failing, as though the world around you didn't tell you exactly who they think you are and what you are already worthy of. We are traditionally taught that self-esteem is a personal problem, but it was a community project. And if you don't have it, that means the community failed, not just you by yourself.
We're not
ready for that.
I was not ready for that at all. A community problem. So what's the community solution?
The community solution is to look at the ways in which supremacy culture already infiltrated the idea of self. We don't know who we are. We perform who we are. We do all the things that people tell us that we're supposed to do. Oh, this person will love me if. My life will start when. And so we begin the process of performing. We're performing for the likes, for the accolades. We're performing to get into the relationship, to get the job, to whatever the thing is that we're trying to achieve. There's a performance that we are putting on. We put on. So in the end, it's like, well, do you know who you are? Or do you know how you perform? Because we're not judging ourselves. We don't know whether or not we like us. We know whether or not we like our performance. We know whether or not somebody gave us an A. We know whether or not somebody told us we were pretty today. We know whether or not we earned the degree or whether or not we have the money in the bank account, because that is how we've been taught that self-esteem is supposed to look. You got to be powerful. You got to be desirable. You got to be rich, visibly rich, so other people can clock it, so other people can see it, which means that it's a performance that you put on for others. That's not self-esteem. That's not even self-concept. It doesn't tell me that you know who you are. It tells me that you know how they expect you to perform. That's not the same thing.
Ouch.
With love.
Ouch. 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 Tell me, where does color actually show up in a therapy session?
Oh, color shows up at the beginning of the therapy session.
Sometimes
it's in whether or not a person even believes that they deserve to be in therapy, whether or not they think they deserve to be in any room that they're in. So many of us are taught that it is our job to make up for what our skin tone has been. So if you are dark-skinned somebody, people will often tell you if they think you're acting light-skinned. If someone is light-skinned, it's, well, you have an expectation of the behavior. We expect them to be uppity and to look down their nose and to behave in a certain way. And so sometimes we live up to the expectations that other people have for us. If someone tells you that you are worth less because you are darker, or because you're fat, or because you're tall, or whatever the thing is, then you start trying to figure out how you can make up for that thing. Skin tone is not different. Children, by the time they're age 5, understand the value of having the right skin tone and the right hair texture. It's adults who want to pretend that it doesn't actually matter and that we are going to kumbaya and say that we all black, so it's not really a problem. I think that's cute. Silly, but cute.
So are you telling me that I shouldn't be telling my light-skinned friends to stop acting light-skinned when they're acting all sensitive? Is that what you're telling me?
Probably. Probably. We reduce people down to a characteristic that we think they're supposed to have based off the skin tone. Now, I'm not saying that there is not maybe a way that a bunch of people who are similar behave because of the way that the world has moved around them, right? Like when we talk about white fragility, for example, it's known because we can see the way that white folk behave when you give them any sort of confrontation. The same thing, it exists with light-skinned people. It's called light fragility. It's literally the same thing, just not white. Now it's light. Right? It's also male fragility, right? People who have been systemically in positions of power, when confronted by someone who is not in the same position of power, often display fragile type behavior, because hearing something about themselves always hurts a little extra.
Okay, I'll stop. Dang it. I'll stop.
You know, just put a roll, put a slow, put a little something.
Okay. All right. So listen, Now I'll be feeling bad. Okay, so you're a sex therapist writing a self-esteem book. Okay, most people will keep these two things completely separate. Why can't you talk about one without the other?
Because we're sexual beings from birth till death. We we grow up thinking about how other people will perceive us, whether or not we like us and whether or not they like us. And how you are received and perceived by others can make your life really great or really not great. So how you look matters to other people, that and that's the sexuality, right? The who you are. The sex is very easy, right? It's the thing that you do, and there's only a finite number of ways to have sex because you have limited body. You have limited body, they have limited body. However many bodies are in there with you at the same time, it's limited numbers of body, which means there's limited numbers of ways to have sex. But there are multiple ways to express your sexuality. And because we have separated these two things, I think that we forget that there's a link. If for women specifically, when they have high self-esteem, they're less likely to have sex they do not want.
They do not want.
I feel like I need to run it back.
The do
You're
not
less
want
likely
part.
to involve yourself in sexual behaviors if you like you. Men, not so much.
So you're saying trifling behavior comes from low self-esteem? That's what I heard.
I mean, that's not what I said. That's what you heard. But I'm not saying that's not right. I'm saying that when you esteem yourself, when you think that you're worth it, you're more likely to demand what you desire.
And I'm laughing, but that's men and women, okay? Men and women, correct?
Yeah, well, for men, it's a little different.
Talk to me.
High self-esteem, they just do more trash behavior. It doesn't actually matter. In a specific way, I'll say, in a specific way, because we also have to think about how men are socialized. Men are also socialized to perform for men. Men won't
100%.
admit that they are.
100%.
Yeah. Some men will not admit that. They're not ready to have that part of the conversation, that there is a homoerotic sort of performance that men place for other men to see 100%. Them as manly and to accept them as such. In the same way that women are worried about the male gaze, men are also worried about the male gaze. 100%. But no one ever wants to admit it.
Talk
they
about
just want to call
right.
each other simps and tell each other that they gay all the time. But I digress.
And then tell me acting light skin. Okay, look. Research says that darker skinned women report lower self-esteem. And how do I say this? They report lower self-esteem and more workplace discrimination, but also that darker skin can mean higher self-esteem in predominantly Black spaces. So is the problem colorism itself, or which room a woman is actually standing in?
Both. BOAF.
Okay.
If we're talking about what it means to be a dark-skinned person in a predominantly white or light-skinned room, then yes, we're talking about the ways that systems harm us to believe that we are less than in those rooms. So if we're talking about self-esteem on a spectrum, not a binary, the binary being I have self-esteem or I don't have self-esteem, when you get to thinking about it as far as a spectrum, then you would be able to identify the first phenomena that you talked about, the former, as damaged self-esteem. So damaged self-esteem is whereby the world around you has basically said you're not worth it. And so you start to question whether or not you are, particularly when you're in those environments. So you're less likely to ask for the promotion. You're not likely to ask for the date. You're not likely to do the thing to move you toward, because you're still worried about whether or not you're wrong, if you're the right thing that someone is looking for. So you're more likely to be quiet. You're more likely to just kind of be low key, observe, and even say silly things like, I don't ask for much. Like, oh, I don't even be needing that much, because it's damaged, because you feel like you're not supposed to have needs. Now, when we're talking about being in a predominantly Black environment, that thing that Black people love about each other is often that Blackness. And specifically, it's being obviously, unquestionably Black, which can feel like a sense of at homeness. Now, light-skinned people may not feel as welcome in those spaces, because then the question becomes, well, what are you? And really what people are asking, that people don't like that is being asked, is, are you safe for me? Are you a light-skinned or mixed-race person who is for Black people, or are you a light-skinned mixed-race person who is masquerading in an all-Black space? Are you safe for me?
How do they find the answer to that?
Usually through the way that someone behaves over time.
Okay.
We're constantly asking the question anyway, like, am I safe with you?
Yeah. True. I think intuition is a big thing, and we don't always listen to it.
Yeah.
You wrote Cocoa Butter and Hair Grease about hair and skin. Then you came back with a book about self-esteem broadly. Yes. What did you learn from the first book that you couldn't say until the second book?
I think in the first book, I was very much like, a girl is a therapist, like a therapist for real, not a therapist for fake. So I'm seeing clients and I'm seeing this work, and I created the book specifically. It was a bunch of worksheets for one specific client. I created a worksheet, and then I saw, okay, this other client needs it too. So I'm like, okay, let me see if these things work or they don't work. It was a bunch of worksheets in my Google Drive that I told a friend about, who told her audience that I had a book that I did not have. So what happened was, I created some tools for my clients, and that became the work that we were doing, and that spread to multiple clients in my practice at that time. I took a step back because I realized that while I want to have the conversation about colorism, while I want to have a conversation about texturism, a conversation I started well before 2016 when I finished my dissertation on those subjects, I realized that there's no point in having that conversation if we don't first understand what self-esteem is. Because as long as we think of self-esteem as I have it or I don't, on that binary, as long as we think of self-esteem as a performance we put on for others, that self-esteem is a show or a display of how cute you are and how much money you have, then we are not ready for a conversation on colorism and texturism, because we don't even understand the value of self-esteem beyond you have it, you don't have it, and it's a personal failing. Self-esteem has generally, I would even say, been completely undervalued in the way that we have conversations. People think of self-esteem as almost like optional, like it's the cherry on top of the sundae. Not that it is the meal that you have for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. It's your snacks, it's your water, it's your life, it's the air you breathe, it's the sun that shines on you or doesn't shine on you. It is literally everything. Because how you feel about you affects everything in your life.
I do personal branding for young athletes, and that's one of the core conversations is, who are you? Not who your coach wants you to be, not who even your mama wants you to be, who these girls out in the streets want you to be. Who are you to you? Ooh. Not to everyone else. And it's hard. Like, it brings me to tears sometimes on how hard that is for so many young people to answer that question, which then shows me that they went into adulthood never having answered that question.
Why would they have answered that question when everyone has always expected their performance?
And defined who they are before they had an opportunity to define who they are.
Exactly.
It's sad.
I think about, like, I'm Nigerian American, doctor, lawyer, engineer. That's what I grew up with. You'll be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. I was taught the value of a doctor, lawyer, engineer. I was put on the track to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer. It's all I ever heard. Like, yes, this one would be a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer. As a matter of fact, for one of my cousins, one of them is a doctor, the other one is a lawyer, and the third one is an engineer. It is crazy because the parents got exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
They're not happy.
Right. I've seen it. I've seen it.
They
Tell me this then.
for their parents. They live their lives for their parents' dreams. And I'm not saying that your parents' dreams aren't valuable. I'm saying that they're not yours. Parents are a portal. They're a door. You walk through them. You don't live for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to live for yourself, which requires you to know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you cannot esteem who you are. You can only esteem your performance. So when you talk about those athletes, a lot of them knew who they were according to what someone wanted, and they performed it. And then they graded themselves on how well they did that performance.
Yep.
That's not the same thing as knowing and liking yourself, of finding something valuable about you. It's about, that becomes about your productivity, which is exactly what capitalism demands, your productivity. It's a wonder that our parents don't, in a way, do the same thing when they've also been taught the same thing. They were taught that what makes them good, worthy, valuable, what makes a good child is always the performance. Are you a quiet child? Do you need a lot? Everybody wants a child that don't need nothing, that is quiet, that is docile, that does exactly as they are told, while saying that they want one that is a leader, one that shakes this world, one that makes a difference. One of those things is not like the other.
Tell me this, who's more dangerous to Black women's self-esteem, the outside world or her own family?
Her own family.
Yeah. I just wanted to know if we were on the same page.
The own family learned it from the outside world. So, I mean, really, you could toss it up because, I mean, for me, that's almost like a chicken or the egg sort of situation, which came first. And I believe, well, research also shows that there was a time before all of this, before there were so many things between you and yourself. And we've got a lot of stuff between us and us. So you don't know you know you under white supremacy, you know you under capitalism, you know you under heteronormativity. Who would you be without those things? Remember when people used to ask that question on the artist formerly known as Twitter?
Yeah, yep.
People would be like, what would you do if for a day there were no men? Or if for a day there were no white people? And people always put some of the most mundane answers, especially women, if there were no men. It'd be like, oh, I'd go outside at night. Ooh, right? Like I'd go on a long walk. I'd wear that dress that I have in the back of the closet that I've really been desperately wanting to wear, right? Like it's mundane things. People just want to live. How would you live if someone didn't tell you that you were worth less than somebody else?
Yep. How would you live? How would you live? Look, let the people know how they can get in touch with you, how they can continue to follow your journey, how and where they can get the book from, and all the good things.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you can get that book from anywhere they sell books.
Hey.
You want to go to Barnes & Noble because you like big box? That's you. Go ahead there, boo. If you want to go to a small Black LGBTQIA owned bookstore, go through. Of course, you can get it from Amazon or somewhere else in that nature. So wherever you buy your books, that's where you can get the book, including your local library. Just request the book and see if they have it. I'm also on the Libby app. Now, as far as how you can get in touch with yours truly, you can hit me up on Instagram, which is where I'm usually most active, or you can also hit me up on my website, DonnaOriowo.com.
Wonderful. Donna, I really feel like we need a part 2 to this. So, I'm going to get my people to talk to your people, and hopefully we can get some more time together because I got questions. I got questions.
Endeavor to have answers.
Yeah, I know. And if nothing else, we'll have some more laughs. So listen, guys, if this hit you different, if this, made you feel something, that's because it was supposed to. All right. Drop a comment and tell me where you're overdrawn or how people are making you feel about your color or maybe your child's color. It's always interesting when you have a child that don't look like you. and how you feel about that. So I love hearing those types of stories and anything you want me to forward on to the good doctor here, because everybody's self esteem matters. All right. And like she said, it's a priority. That is your living and breathing essential. Hit follow on Instagram, Tonya McKenzie PR. Go follow the good doctor. Hit subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss the next episode, especially if we're going to have a part two. And go support the good doc. Drink water and mind your business and follow her. Are you on TikTok also or no?
I am.
Oh yeah, I thought so. I thought I saw her over there. I'll be creeping. Okay, and if you want a deeper dive, because I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about her book and some of the stuff that she's been studying, the receipts will be in there too. So stay connected, and we will see you next time. Always remember, control the narrative, because if you don't, the streets will, and not in your favor. All right, guys.
Ooh.